Welcome to another Demarcation Media action figure review. Today we are looking at another Warhammer 40,000 JoyToy figure. This is a Salamander Intercessor, specifically Brother Tol'Vak. JoyToy keeps doing these like named Intercessors, and I have no idea if it's actually like lore accurate name or not. But this guy caught my eye because I had watched a few bits of the Pariah Nexus and found out that the Salamanders are actually super cool and may now be my favorite Space Marine chapter. Their whole like protect the civilians thing is really awesome. So I had to give one of these guys a try. This video is made in affiliation with ltcave.com. If you want to get one of these for yourself, I will have an affiliate link down in the description and in the pinned comment. So go check it out there. They have all kinds of JoyToy Warhammer pre-orders for the new stuff, all the different figures. Basically, if you want to get a JoyToy figure, they will most likely have it. Box is pretty standard. We've got the little Salamanders branding up there. Dead Emperor on the side, or not really Dead Emperor. And then we get to see all the stuff on the back. And this guy comes with an unmasked head, which is pretty cool. So let's go ahead and get this guy open. We have the plastic wrap on there as usual. That's pretty much how you can tell if a JoyToy figure is brand new or not, by if this is still intact. Go ahead, take that off. Some people can get this off without completely destroying it, but I don't really care if I destroy it. Going to sheath my knife because you should never leave an open knife. And there he is. Initially, I was really not interested in these guys because they have zero shading. I think some of the newer Salamanders may have a bit of shading, but initially I was like, they're bleh, they're just plain green, so I'm gonna ignore them. But they are a very cool chapter, so it's worth taking a look. Yeah, it's very, very bright green. Very bright. Literally nothing to break up the greenness. This is cool. The shoulder has actually got like a raised little decal. We have this, oh my word, that is big. That is a little puny gun. We've got a backpack. It's cool that it's in black. Just kind of pop that on. Oh, this is one of the hard ones. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm going to have to try that in a minute. Here is the head. Oh dear. Okay, we're going to have to talk about that. That standard chainsword and a bunch of hands. So let me go get this guy all assembled, put together, and we'll take a closer look. And there he is. All the accessories are out. He has his pack on, which was ridiculously difficult, and that pack is never coming off again. Literally, I think if I were to try and pull it off, it would just snap. So never going to try to take that off again. Let's go ahead and look at the accessories first because we have a decent handful. Let's go ahead and look at the biggest accessory first. This is a bolt gun with a underslung grenade launcher. And I don't know, are these grenades or are these bullets? I kind of think they're just bullets because bullets in the Warhammer universe are essentially the size of soda cans. So that's probably just bullets. I don't know where he stores extra grenades. This is pretty cool looking. It's very large, as most weapons from 40k are. It's got some more interesting bits to it. This is not one that I've seen too often. It kind of looks like the barrel is bent downwards slightly. I don't know if it really is or if that's just the way I'm looking at it. But we do have the little grenade launcher. Big mag. Got the winged double-headed eagle there. Nothing on the other side. This strap, which is kind of stiff, so it might get in the way of posing. It's cool. Very cool. The barrel does look bent downward, but that's a little odd. Have a normal chain sword. This is pretty much standard for Warhammer stuff. Dark red handle, which is unique. I haven't gotten one like that before. There's a little tiny bolt pistol, which the mag is removable. We got some bullets in there. Ooh, those are painted up pretty nicely, actually. Very nice. Always nice to get more little ones. If you have a couple of Space Marines and you have 2 of these, you could have one dual wielding, which, speaking of dual wielding, you do get a trigger finger for both sides, so you can easily dual wield. We get a holding hand for both sides, which is great. I always love it when they do, bro, stand up. When they do hands for both sides. We get a pair of fists, and thank goodness an open palm hand, because those holding hands cannot grip the bottom of the gun, so he can brace it. There's just one open hand, but it's nice to get at least one. And then we have the head, and the head is all done pretty well. Got those red scars, the gray of the skin tone is great. He's got kind of a wash, but then the eyes are like not lined up properly. This one is higher than the other, and it's really hard to tell if that was purposeful because the box doesn't show the head all that well. Let's see. Yeah, it's really hard to tell if his eyes are supposed to be not lined up like that. So if somebody knows in the comments if his eyes are supposed to be misaligned, let me know. But yeah, it looks a little weird. The print of the eyes look like they missed the mark. That's a kind of a shame because the head looks good otherwise. It's just the eyes look all out of whack. So as a whole, not a bad lineup of accessories. That head just really needed some work. Oh, I almost forgot. There is a bolt gun, or I don't actually know what type of gun this is. It's a gun in a sheath, a holster with a purity seal on it. Kind of cool, but also, as I've said before, popping these on and off usually results in the ball joint snapping. So these things just kind of get tossed to the side for me. And here is Brother Tol'Vak himself. He looks pretty good. The green is a little bit jarring because there's zero wash or shading on it. And I have one of the 2.0 Intercessors here. I believe Tol'Vak counts as a 3.0 Intercessor because he has the 3.0 hands, which is very nice. Also, the softer rubber for the shoulders, that's also really nice. It means I don't have to modify the shoulders. But you can kind of see here the difference. You have the bright green and then the shaded blue. And this green would have looked absolutely brilliant with this kind of shading. So that's a little bit of a bummer to me. But we have kind of consistent no washes now, because there's the Space Wolves Intercessor, this 3.0 one, which looks wise, Space Wolves might be my favorite chapter, but also Salamanders might now be my favorite in terms of like their morals and stuff. Here is a Ultramarine Hellblaster. Just wanted to drop him in here because he's got the same kind of unshaded look. Looks pretty nice side by side. We got a Blood Angel. This is my only Blood Angel, which is why I always use him for comparison. This is the Veteran Lenatus. You can see, again, the no wash. And then last, we have an Iron Hands Intercessor who also has no shading, but he's black. So you don't really need shading on black. Quality-wise, whoa, stand up, buddy. Quality-wise, I gotta admit, he feels slightly rough around the edges. I can't quite put my finger on it. I think it was just something about the way that the joints were and whatnot. Thigh swivel is a little bit loose. The swivel up here is a little loose. The backpack was really hard to put on. It just felt a little bit more rough than even like this dude. This dude was not quite so rough around the edges. This guy was. He doesn't look noticeably bad, though. I will say that. His paintwork is, for the most part, good. The silver on the side here is a little thin. And the eyes, I feel like the eyes are maybe slightly overspilled. But it's not bad. This part here has like loose plastic on it, which is weird. I don't really know what to think about that. And then here you can see the black paint was missed a bit. But those are all fairly nitpicky things, I feel. For the most part, he looks good. We got some paint work for the buttons there. He can hold his little tiny bolter pretty well. And the 3.0 hands allow for some great posing. You can even pop that up to get more like downward movement. It's nice. The decal on the shoulder looks great. I don't really know what the symbol is other than probably has something to do with Vulcan. The skull has a bit of wash on it, which is cool. A little odd that they didn't do it for the whole thing, but okay. And then we have the Salamander's dragon head, which is a raised piece. Super cool. I think that's great. Then we've got the extra accessories on the belt. You can replace this for, let's see, where did I put it? This if you want to, but again, swapping them off probably will break one. Paintwork on the back unit is not too bad. Like I said, this is a little loose when you turn it down to like this. It's very loose, but if you turn it up to here, it's kind of tighter. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, he's fairly standard. This little thing is kind of funny. Again, oh, there goes the loose piece of plastic. Don't really know why there was loose plastic. Standard for the most part. And again, the wash would have been really nice. I think that's the thing that this figure, the point where this figure suffers the most is the lack of wash. For those of you who know the Warhammer line that JoyToy does, you will not be surprised by any of the articulation here. But for those of you who don't, you basically have everything you could want for posing a Space Marine. Double jointed elbows. The shoulder can go up about that high. Well, hold on a second. I might be able to get a little bit more. No, that's about it, which is not too bad for such a bulky shoulder piece. You got ab crunch. The head it's got double joint, so if you finagle it right, you can get plenty of poses out of it. We saw the hands. The hands have plenty of movement there. You've got a bit of a waist ball joint, double jointed knees, which that's about as best as you can ask. Honestly, maybe even a little bit better than you would expect for such bulky knees. Double joint for the feet. Toe hinge, I think toe hinges are absolutely useless. I never like toe hinges, and these ones are slightly loose. So it just makes me dislike them even more. There's also kind of a butterfly joint that I also kind of dislike because for some reason JoyToy, I'm putting it out of camera, JoyToy put it so it like swivels, but it can be helpful sometimes. Yeah, I mean, that's the general rundown. Like I said, you can get most of what you would need out of these joints. Hips are maybe slightly limited, but it's not too bad. Again, it's a giant, bulky spaceman, so there's only so much you can ask for. Thigh swivel, these are very loose thigh swivel. Yeah, I'm going to have to do something about that, unfortunately. But posing-wise, you will be able to get anything you want in terms of Space Marine. I mean, he's not Spider-Man, so don't expect him to pose like Spider-Man, but he can pose like a giant armored soldier. Well, there you have it. That is the JoyToy Salamanders Intercessors brother Tol'Vak. So I gotta say, I do like this figure. Again, I know I keep ranting on about the lack of shading and the lack of just any sort of wash, but the figure does look really nice. I do like the end result here. There were a fair handful of weird quality control things, but at the end of the day, it is a really cool figure, and it is a Salamander's Intercessor. This guy I felt was the most standard of the Salamander's Intercessors, and he had both the helmet head and the unhelmeted head, which unhelmeted head is a bit of a disappointment to me, but yeah, I don't know about that. But good accessory selection, the whole like raised decal on the shoulder, and just the Salamander's whole vibe is really cool. It's great to get this giant bolt gun. Barrel definitely seems like it's pointed downward. Again, one of those weird quality things. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's a pretty solid figure. He's around like a $25 to $40 figure. I would say if you can get it around 30 feels like a solid price for what these figures are. They're very well engineered, so 30 feels like a solid price. Anything less than 30 is also great. Yeah, I mean, I recommend it. Or another Salamander, because the Salamanders are just really cool. It's Salamanders. Because they're the Salamanders, the green armor kind of I don't know, the no wash almost becomes a non-issue at that point. But yeah, I would recommend this guy. I think he's cool. And the Salamanders chapter also has a lot of different units. There's Intercessors. They've got those like dudes with the big, I think they're flamethrowers. And now I think they have like some sort of a leading unit. I don't know what he was exactly. But yeah, I recommend you pick one of these guys up. I will have the link in the description if you want one. Or you can go and also find any of the other Salamanders on ltcave.com. Yeah. Salamanders. I think Salamanders are my new favorite. And I know I say that every time, but in terms of what their chapter stands for, Salamanders are my favorite. And I think looks-wise, Space Wolves come very, very close and take the number 2 spot. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.